Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Evans, and in this Sony A7 IV setup video I just want to show you guys my Sony A7 IV rig and walk you guys through my mindset for building this rig and the things that I was looking out for as I was building this rig, as well as show you guys all the parts that I chose for this particular build, why I chose them, and show you guys how I put it together. So there were a couple of goals for this rig. The rig had to be portable, it had to be a little bit on a lighter side, and it has to be very modular and easy to take things off and put things back on. Let's get to it. I will show you guys. Right here is all the components that I'm using, and so let's start the build process. So let's talk about the base plate. So right here is the SmallRig base plate with two 10-inch rods mounted or installed on them, and on top of that I have a quick release plate installed, which is the Swiss quick release type. Now let's talk about the heart of the whole rig. The heart of the whole rig is this SmallRig Cage. In my last video, a couple of videos back, I have unboxed this cage and walk you guys through how to install it on the Sony A7 IV. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link it up here and you can take a look. But this cage is beautiful and well designed. If you look at the bottom here, you would see that it already has an Swiss plate mounted or built into the cage. You have the screw or the tool right here at the bottom magnetized that goes in, but the most important feature about this cage is this door right here, this hinge door that opens and closes. It may look like a very simple thing, but it is very valuable. If you look at the bottom of the door here, you will realize that unlike the A7 III, the Sony A7 IV's battery door does not have a cutout for any cables to come out through. So if you're going to use a dummy battery, it means that you cannot really close the door, or you would have to take out that door. What SmallRig has done is very neat and very beautiful. When you open the door, you realize that the door is not opening or not flapping until you push this door open, and then the cage comes up and the battery will come out. And so even if you have a cable coming out and the door is not fully closed, as long as you have this piece in it, it's going to hold the door in place. So it's a very beautiful, clever design, and I liked what SmallRig have done here. You can also see here that the cage comes with one cold shoe mount already here, and I have added on a second one on this side. Once we start putting things together, you will come to understand why I added this second one and what I'm using it for. All right, so let's install the camera on the base assembly. Because this is an Swiss plate built in already, all you do is just slide it into this Swiss plate here and tighten it down at the back here. Right, push it all the way in, tighten it, make sure it's tight and in place, and that's it. It's secured, and I can open my screen, right, and close the screen. The next piece I want to install is the top handle. And the top handle, as you can see here, I already have my monitor installed, and this monitor is the Atomos Ninja 5 that I'm using. You don't need the Ninja 5 for this. You can use any monitor that you have. This is what I have, and this is what I've been using for a while, so I'm using that Ninja 5. The advantage of the Ninja 5 is that it also allows me, when needed, to put in an SSD drive and record directly right here. So I'm just using this SmallRig tilt and spin or swivel, tilt and swivel head for that. And as you can see also, the Atomos Ninja V, I have this silicone case on it. This silicone case also comes from SmallRig, and the beautiful thing is that the silicone cage comes with a screen protector for the Ninja 5 as well, and so it comes in a package with two protectors and the silicone case. I will leave links to all these components in the description area so you can take a look at that. The cage, or the top handle here, has the airy locking pins at the top here, and I'm going to line them up with the pins on the cage and tighten this in. If you need to make it tighter, you can use the tool that comes with the cage and tighten this. But for now, this is good enough for me. So here we go with the monitor and the top handle mounted. The next component that I'm using is this right here, and this is the SmallRig mini mat box. Some people like to use the mat box, some people don't really see the need for the mat box, but I like to use the mat box, especially when I'm using a wide angle lens like this Tamron 17-28 that I currently have on this rig. I like to have the mat box to try to cut out some of the flare and stuff like that. So I'm going to install this mat box, and I'm using the ring adapter for the mat box and installing it right in front of my lens. The next thing before I actually put on the mat box itself is I want to install my ND filter. So this is my variable ND, and one of the reasons why I love the SmallRig mini mat box is that it allows you to be able to use the circular NDs as well as the rectangular NDs or filters. Right, so I'm just going to install this right in the front here. Right, and with that on, I will now install my mat box, and the mat box is just going to go in. I'm going to screw everything in place, tighten it up. Right, and there we go. The mat box is also installed right now. The next thing I want to install is this unit right here. This unit is the Hollyland Mars 400 Pro. The reason why I use the Mars 400S Pro is because sometimes when I'm shooting, there is creative directors and stuff that want to see the footage in real time, and I don't want them hovering over me. So if I install this, I'm able to wirelessly send the feed to another monitor with the receiver and hand that over to them so that they can take a look as I shoot. And this thing works really well, so the latency is also ultra low and really low, so it works perfect. And so that's the reason why I added this extra cold shoe mount right here, and this unit just goes into that cold shoe mount and I tighten it down. There's one thing that I want to talk about before we go on. That's audio. Now, most of the time when I'm shooting like this, I'm recording my audio externally to something like a Zoom recorder and then syncing that in post. But occasionally I have to record audio directly into the camera, and in that cases, what I do is I use the Rode Wireless Go 2, and so when I need that, that goes right here on the cold shoe that was included on the cage. The last piece that I want to talk about here is powering all of this up. So we have everything here, we have everything set up. We need to power all of this up. And to power all of this up, I went with this setup right here. There is two components here. The first one is this V-mount plate from SmallRig as well. And the second one, the battery, is this V-mount battery from KMTV. This is the mini V-mount. It's very small, very compact, but it's a 99 watt-hour battery, and that installs quickly onto this plate. And as you can see, it looks very small and mini. So most people will install the batteries in this formation, this way. I don't. I like to turn it the opposite way, and there's a couple of reasons. Because when I have this red bar here, it tends to get in the way of my screen, and I don't want that. And so what I do is I flip my battery this way, right, and then tighten it right here. And this serves two purposes. It makes the rig a little bit more tighter, but when I run the cables, it allows me to bring the screen all the way in here when I'm not using it, and it fits right underneath that cable. Now, with all of this done, let's look at the cabling. The first thing is HDMI cables, and for HDMI cables, I'm using two different sizes of HDMI cables, and both of them are coming from SmallRig, right? So SmallRig is making these ultra thin HDMI cables that are also very flexible, and I'm using two of them They come in different lengths. I'm using, I believe this is a 33 millimeter or centimeter, and this one was the 55 centimeter. And on the 55 centimeter, I have added the right angle cable to one of them. And the reason is that I am not using the cable clamp that comes with the cage. I'm using this 90-degree adapter to make the HDMI cable run this way, right, instead of coming out directly. And that cable is the cable that is going into my Atomos on the inputs end, right? And for cable management, these HDMI cables comes with these cable ties that you can wrap around the end here, right, to keep the cables clean a little bit. Now the second cable, which is the shorter cable, I run from the output of the Atomos, and I bring that right into the wireless transmitter, right? And for power to the wireless transmitter, this battery here, the KMTV Mini, has 3 outputs. It has 2 D taps out and 1 USB out. So I'm using the USB to take a USB out, USB-C cable, and I'm running that through the bottom here, just trying to get around and into the cage, just for cable management. And also to power the monitor, I'm using this D-tap to DC adapter, and that is going right here. And same thing, I'm going to run this through the bottom of the cage, just for cable management, and that plugs right back into the monitor. And now for the camera, I have this D-tap to FZ100 battery adapter, and I believe this is from A7IV cables. And so that cable, it's going right here. Bring it in. The door cannot close, but no problem. SmallRig's moving thing has got us. And I'm going to run that also through a little bit, wrap it around. All right, that comes to the side here. And plug in. So now, as you can see, when I'm not using this screen, I can tack it in and it goes right under that D-tap here, right? Goes right underneath it and secures it in place nice and beautiful, and I can bring it out when I need to use it. So that's the entire rig, and all 3 of these units that needs power are being powered from this one V-mount battery. The V-mount battery has the battery indicator on the side here as well, and I can now easily just power everything on. Let's power on the monitor. Let's power on this, and let's power on the A7 IV. And all 3 are being powered from this one V-mount battery. For my testing, I'm able to get about 3 to 3.5 hours of use from this one battery, powering all of it. And I can change out the battery when it dies. I managed to keep it compact, not too heavy, and very, very functional and effective. Now, there are a couple of improvements that I would like to make. And the first one basically is on the top handle. The airy locking top handles are great, but it doesn't allow me to move this whole thing off the camera quickly, especially when I want to go to a gimbal. And so I'm looking at probably putting up a NATO rail type of handle instead of this airy locking, so that I can quickly remove the entire monitor and the top handle assembly without needing a tool to unlock the airy locking pin right here. That's something that I'm looking to change in the near future. All right, guys, so that's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this rig. If anything that you think I can improve on, don't forget, leave me a comment in the description and I'll be grateful and I'll take a look at it as soon as I can. Stay blessed, keep creating, and I will see you in the next video.